Hey, what's up, guys? Ramiro here, and today we're watching Internet Inferno's channel because, yeah, I don't know, I just wanted to react to this video, every character's biggest fear explained on the amazing digital circus, because since I don't really understand what's what's going on, I've been watching some videos about it,
In
so
episode
let's see.
8, Kane reaches his breaking point and shows each circus member their worst nightmare. But what
All right.
exactly are these fear-based nightmares supposed to mean, and
Yeah, I didn't understand like the crocodile one, like why,
what do
why,
they
why,
tell us
why
about
does she
each of
fear
the
about
circus
that?
members? Well, starting with Ragatha, we were given an extremely symbolic, shadowy figure that was shown hovering over a family dinner table with multiple different mannequin guests shown on both sides of her. Only these aren't just any mannequin
All right.
guests, they were actually used to represent Ragatha's family. But
Yeah, I wrote about wrote not wrote. I read about like Ragada's thing, like, and it explained like it was to her mother or something, and it's like, damn, dude, that's crazy. I don't know.
how do we know this?
Kind of reminds me of the Binding of Isaac.
Well, we actually heard Ragatha talk about her real-life family in one of the previous episodes.
Okay, now I realize. Now I just realized the Binding of Isaac has a lot of religious connotations, so it just might make sense, but I don't know. I don't think so.
Which
I don't know.
revealed a few key details that stuck out about them. For starters, Ragatha's family was described as a relatively big one, matching together the fact that there were many different mannequins seated at the table next to her, but even more importantly, we also hear her describe her mom as a very mean person.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this. Like, maybe it's not physical damage that her mother was doing to the family, but like emotional damage, right? Like marks that hurt like knives,
Used to yell at Ragatha very often growing up and was described by Ragatha specifically as a lot. We even see how Ragatha shuts down in episode 5 after mentioning her mom in the first place. Almost like the truth about her relationship with her mom is too much for her to share with anyone. A relationship that is perfectly symbolized by the dark shadowy figure shown to us in Ragatha's worst nightmare.
Yeah, you see, those are the kind of things or details or data you forget about because that time passes and stuff, and you forget about these details. It happens to me a lot. I don't know.
This figure is clearly meant to represent Ragatha's mom. But
yeah.
How do we know for sure? Well, after the shadowy figure pops up in the nightmare,
well, it's bigger than her.
To antagonize Ragatha for seemingly no reason.
Yeah.
Perfectly matching the description of her mother Ragatha gave us earlier.
Kind of same hair, and bigger size. The whole family is hurt by her words. Kind of makes sense, kind of matches.
No reason. Perfectly matching the description of her mother Ragatha gave us earlier on. On top of this, the shadowy figure looks almost identical to Ragatha, showing how whoever this figure is, it's meant to be connected to her in some big way. Assuming that
this reminds me a lot of Duffy's Digital Circus, it just might predicted it, or like they knew something. Duffy's, I know you know something, bruh. Maybe you're an insider or something. I don't know. A side project or something. I don't know.
Figure is Ragatha's mom would perfectly explain this connection. On top of this, we also saw how the mannequins used to represent Ragatha's family members also had weapons in them, showing how Ragatha's mom essentially yelled and antagonized Ragatha's whole family, not just Ragatha. Only Pomni was antagonized in an arguably more brutal way. Her worst nightmare clearly started by addressing the trauma she experienced in episode 2 after seeing her friend Gummy Goo explode.
Kinda can't believe it was another thing, because, for example, Ragatha has the trauma of her mother, but Pomni doesn't have anything, Like, I don't know. Well, I don't know.
This nightmare version of the event, we see Gummy Goo change, suddenly switching up and attacking Pomni. So, what was this sudden switch up supposed to mean? Well, for starters, we've seen how thrilling events like what we see here are exactly what Pomni used to seek out in the real world. We know because this is exactly what she tells us back in episode 5. revealing how thrill chasing was essentially her way of escaping the boredom she experienced at her job she had at the supermarket. But having this sort of experience go wrong explains the suddenness of Gummigoo's switch up during Pomni's nightmare. On top of this, it was also explained how the aggression shown by Gummigoo and the other gummy alligators additionally connected to the bonds Pomni's made during her time in the circus, turning aggressive and disappearing. Which not only lines up with what we saw with Gummigoo back in episode 2, but also with Jax. We saw Jax and Pomni grow a lot closer, particularly in episode 6, only we also saw in this episode how the connection the two had formed very suddenly disappeared and turned aggressive. An order of events that perfectly lines up with what Pomni experiences as her biggest fear in episode 8.
Okay.
She fears the connection she makes suddenly fading. Only in Zubal's case, something else is fading. You see, in their nightmare, we saw how they were essentially being dragged down by their own interchangeable parts. The parts from their special Zubal box they typically change throughout previous episodes.
Kind of representing like insecurity or something like that? Like not accepting oneself? Always wanting to change something, maybe?
Only there was a particular detail Zubal revealed about this box back in episode 3 that explained why their extra parts from this box returned in their nightmare. You see, in this earlier episode, Zubal revealed how they didn't fully feel happy with their body in the digital circus. It had been affecting them to the point of skipping out on multiple past adventures, and Kane's only solution for this problem was presented as the Zubal box. The opportunity for Zubal to change their parts in order to finally find the body they felt the most comfortable in, Zubal's biggest desire, explaining how their biggest fear shown to us in episode 8 would essentially be the exact opposite of this. The concept of Zubal never finding their perfect body, to the point of being drowned with endless possibilities only to still be haunted with what they saw in the mirror.
Dude, that's so real. Like, that fear, I felt that, man. I know what it feels, right? Like, just like cannot accept yourself. It's really, really tough, you know?
Additionally explaining why Zubal's worst nightmare also included multiple mirrors. Only what Gangle's nightmare included was much crazier. For starters, we saw Gangle's biggest fear introduced as something connected to her emotions. The fact that multiple moving emotions
like crashing out or something
in front of her showed how specifically Gangle was afraid of having a lack of control over her emotions.
Yeah, that's too real too.
This idea was summarized for us as she's afraid of being unable to manage her emotions to the point that they switch up so fast that she can't keep up.
Like kind of being like bipolar or really, you know, this feeling when you're really frustrated or like bottle up a lot of things, you know, and it just explodes out of nowhere, like when she was a manager on the McDonald's episode, you know? Yeah, it kind of makes sense.
Matching together with exactly what we saw happen in her nightmare. This concept was also perfectly represented by Gangle's portrayal in the circus in general, as the fact that her happy mask was capable of breaking at any moment in the show showed us how there was already an unstable relationship between Gangle and her feelings since the very beginning. Only we also saw more to Gangle's nightmare specifically, as after the fast-shifting emotions took control,
I didn't notice that
ended up coming. A very strange occurrence, only this occurrence actually happened once before.
Oh, nah, man. All right. I know that happened before in the McDonald's episode, you know? But imagine if, like, it was more profound, more deep, like, more dark, you know? Had a darker meaning in a way that, oh, she can't control herself and, you know, self, you know what I mean? That's really heavy. I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything because there's a lot of theories going around, but it might just be, I don't know, man.
You see, in episode 4, we saw
like just wanting to stop feeling that way, you know, like it's something like I felt too. I've been feeling these days, like when you're overwhelmed or something, you know, just wanna stop feeling and just, you know, like turn off the brain like a power off button or something, like doom, you know. But yeah.
This same exact scenario happened in the same exact way. Gangle essentially being overwhelmed by emotion only for a truck to come, potentially alluding to some sort of trauma from Gangle's real life. Only our most important nightmare scene was another story, Jax's night.
Could you imagine? Oh no, wait. I think I mixed stories up. No, never mind.
Nightmare. You see, Jax's nightmare started out with a group of people laughing at him, only the scene quickly progressed to show Jax's past friends in the digital circus,
Yeah.
Offmo, Ribbit, and Pomni, essentially peel back his layers just to laugh at him.
Oh yeah, like his fear that just might be it, right? Like his biggest fear is showing himself his real self, right? Like he's afraid of feeling vulnerable, like because he feels like his friends or something are gonna make fun of him or something, and that really leads to things like escaping friendships or you know.
We see Jax quick to cover up here, embarrassed at feeling exposed, while Jax's friends do nothing but continue to laugh. So what was this all meant to tell us? Well, we know that with the trend Jax has shown in the past few episodes, it's clear that his biggest fear was being vulnerable and opening up to the people he cares about. Jax is scared of being his true self, as
that's what I said. All right. Well, it's kind of obvious, you know, but
we specifically see the moments where instead of being vulnerable and building a closer connection with Pomni, he purposefully pushes her away, putting on a sort of emotional mask to distance himself instead. And we see this same symbolic mask essentially being taken off his body in Jax's nightmare before Jax starts trying to hide himself in embarrassment. Jax is clearly afraid of being seen without this mask because his biggest fear is that when he fully takes it off, essentially being his true self around those he cares about, he will get laughed at and rejected. This explains why he acts so cold around Pomni in certain moments, while still showing a sort of hidden care for her as well as his old friends, Kaufmo and Ribbit. Only there was also a sort of bonus nightmare scenario that was additionally brought up in episode 8. The truth about Scratch in the digital circus.
Oh, there's one thing that I want to add. Like maybe, Jax's fears being vulnerable, but adding to that, you know, maybe it's because of one another reason. Like, imagine this: his friends abstracted, right? But like why? Maybe he feels like it's his fault, or maybe he did something to make them eventually like abstract, you know, like maybe or not, I don't know. But the thing is, maybe if Jax opens up, like for example for with Pomni or the others, like he's gonna say something about like, nah, my friends, no, like I don't know, and well, eventually he will fear that they might judge him or make fun of him because he lost his abstracted friends, or just in general, right? Because it makes sense, like feeling that insecurity about like being made fun of, but like why, you know? I don't know, it's just a thought I had.
As we saw from the new episode 8 flashback scene, how Scratch was originally meant to be very important in the digital circus. Only besides the few details we were given about Scratch later in the episode, his true importance in the show was
the doggo
mystery. What was Scratch's?
I love his face right here. He looks like a pinhead, you know? ¿A quién le dices cabeza de pin?
True backstory. Well, it turns out we were actually given early clues towards this backstory early that were hidden in plain sight. Back in episode 7, fans of the digital circus were able to uncover an Easter egg related to Scratch and his backstory from the Chinese room scene in the episode. So what was this Easter egg, and what did it reveal to us about Scratch after all? Well, I'm able to put together everything we're told about the situation for you into this video right here.
Alright, that seems really interesting, not gonna lie. You sold me the idea of watching that video, I'm not gonna lie.
So for everything related to the truth about Scratch in the digital circus, make sure to check it out.
Alright. Internet Inferno, really well done. Great video, yay! Alright. Well, you guys, let me know what you think. You know, if you know my Spanish channels, let me know what you think. If you're new here and you only speak English, be welcome and understand that I suck sometimes not speaking English, but I'm trying, you know. But anyway, I hope you have a good day, guys. Subscribe, comment, like, hype, you know, all this YouTube stuff. And I'll see you guys later in the next video. Bye-bye.